Hello friends, welcome to Renu's Englishpedia. Today we are going to do the topic future time references. Before I start the topic, I request you to see my first video on tenses, that is Introduction to Tenses, in order to understand the different forms of the verbs. Unlike the present and the past tense, since there is not much clarity about the future tense, we do not call it the future indefinite tense, rather, we call it the future time references. This is so because various verb forms are used to express the future. For example, the verb forms will, shall, the going to form, the present continuous, the simple present, the future continuous, the future perfect, and finally the future perfect continuous forms. In this video, I will deal with all these forms one at a time. The first form that we shall study is will or shall. In the positive sentence, it is written as subject plus will or shall plus verb, that is in the root form, and plus the object. For example, we shall tell jokes. In the negative sentence, it is written in the form subject plus will or shall plus not plus verb in the root form plus object. For example, you will not waste time. In the interrogative form, we write it in the sentence structure as will or shall plus subject plus verb in the root form plus object. For example, shall I go to the market? And finally, the short form of shall and will is apostrophe double L. When we are generally talking about the future, with I and we use shall. However, with the second and third person, that is you, he, she, it and they, will is used. However, when we are talking about the future with determination, there is an interchange. That means that with I and we, that is first person, we start using the verb form will, and with second and third person, we use the verb form shall. Now, there is another important thing that I would like to tell you, that nowadays this confusion has been overcome by the popular short form, that is apostrophe double L. Will and shall is generally used when we decide to do something at the time of speaking. For example, son, I am not feeling well. Mother, I'll get you a tablet. This decision to get a tablet was made at the time of speaking. Another time that we use will and shall is when we want to express something that is certain to happen. For example, the flight will take off at 6 p.m. This is a certain thing that is going to happen. Another place that we use will and shall is to express the speaker's view. For example, I am sure the government will take some action. This is only the speaker's view, not the general view. Again, will and shall is used when we offer to do something. For example, I'll take over your duties for this week. We can also use it when we promise to do something. For example, I'll complete the work by this evening. When we are asking someone to do something or we are requesting someone to do something, then also we use either will or shall. For example, will you please hold the door till I come in? And finally, only shall is used to make suggestions. For example, shall we go to Darjeeling for a vacation this summer? We will now discuss the going to form. The structure of the going to form is subject plus the verb be plus going to plus root form of the verb and plus the object. For example, we are going to plan a visit to Europe. Please remember, the form of the verb be will change according to the subject. Another example is he is going to bring the food. Over here, the verb be changes into is according to the subject, that is he. The going to form is generally used when we have decided to do something in the near future or when we intend to do something in the near future. For example, I am going to appear for my board exams next month. Again, we also use it to predict a future event if there is a clear indication or evidence of its happening. For example, he is driving too fast. He is going to crash. There is great confusion between when should we use will and shall and when should we use going to. Will and shall is used when there is decision made at the time of speaking. There is no earlier intention or indication. On the other hand, the verb form going to is used when a firm decision or there is firm intention or there is clear indication of something that is going to happen. The present continuous tense is also used to express a future action if some arrangement has already been made. Please remember, the arrangement has already been made. The form of this tense is subject plus the verb be plus root form of the verb plus ing plus object. For example, she is retiring next month. In order to understand the difference in the usage of going to and the present continuous, kindly look at the following statements. The first sentence, which is in the present continuous form, is Gayatri is leaving for England tomorrow morning, and the second sentence, which is in the going to form, is Gayatri is going to leave for England. In sentence 1, the decision has been taken and the arrangements have been made, and therefore we will use the present continuous form of the verb. In the sentence 2, it only states an intention and therefore we use the going to form. However, in many cases, both the two forms are used interchangeably. The simple present tense can also be used to express the future when we are talking about timetables, programs, or set schedules. For example, my flight reaches at 8 a.m. and the meeting begins at 10 a.m. The form of this tense is subject plus verb 1 plus the object. We now come to the future continuous tense. It is written in the form subject plus will or shall plus the verb be plus first form of the verb plus ing plus the object. It is used to express an action which will be in progress at a given time in the future. For example, when you come home, the children will be sleeping. This means that in order for one action to be in progress at a given time, some time reference has to be given. It is also used to express an action that is fairly certain to happen in the near future. For example, on Monday, the chairman will be addressing all the executives. When having to decide between using present continuous tense and the future continuous tense, please remember the present continuous tense is used when some arrangement has been made. For example, the new president is visiting the company tomorrow. On the other hand, the future continuous tense is used when we are probably talking about a routine visit or a routine happening. For example, the new president will be visiting the bank tomorrow. The future perfect tense takes the form subject plus will or shall plus have plus third form of the verb or the past participle plus the object. For example, they will have written all the answers by this evening. It is used to express an action which will have been completed before a given time in the future. For example, we shall have cleaned the house before the family arrives. Remember, a time reference has to be given with this tense. Finally, the form of the future perfect continuous tense is subject plus will or shall plus have plus been plus first form of the verb plus ing plus the object. It is used to express an action which will begin before a definite moment in the future and will just end at that moment or may even continue beyond that moment. For example, when you leave the examination hall, you will have been writing the paper continuously for 3 hours. Remember, the future perfect tense denotes a completed action. For example, the gardener will have trimmed all the plants by tomorrow. That is, the action will be complete by tomorrow. On the other hand, the future perfect continuous tense denotes a continuous action. For example, when he retires in September, he will have been working in this bank for 35 years. That is, at a certain point in the future, a particular action will have been going on for a particular period of time. With this, we come to the end of our video. I hope that you liked the content. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to Reno's Englishpedia. Thank you.